drawn because I need to keep the sun away. Unlike some of you that are dealing with a foot of snow, you're also maybe dealing with a foot of crime. And why am I talking about a foot of crime? Do you remember when we used to be able to walk around outside, leave our bikes on our front lawn, leave our front door ajar, only care about the bugs that are flying in, and not the migrants that are trying to come in your house and settle in the extra bedroom? Do you feel safe in your community? If you said maybe not so much or not as much, maybe you've understood what we're about to get into. Hi, my name's Stuart Brisgell. That's David Solomon. This is an unfiltered conversation on a wide range of topics. This podcast is dedicated on giving and expressing opinions, share thoughts, experience, ideas from a variety of perspectives. Well, I'm in Florida. David's in Montreal. Join us as we dive into the latest news, pop culture, so much more. Rants about absurdity in modern life. Can an 81-year-old run for president and remember? Or discussion about deeper issues affecting society. We should stop and have a ceasefire in Gaza and return terror tunnels back to terrorists so they can continue on with their infrastructure. So anyways, guys, sit back and relax. I got to get both in there. David's looking at me funny. And join us as another edition of the Rant Network. David, I wanted to touch on a whole bunch of things this morning, or this afternoon, or whatever you want to call noon. And I got to tell you, crime in the United States, Canada, and around the world is rampant. But you want to know what's even more frightening? Nobody's talking about it. Nobody's talking about crime. They're only talking about, well, let's defund the police. Well, I defunded the police. Hey, I'm in favor of defunding the police. Hey, we should have law and order, but we don't have law and order. David, I'm confused.
Listen, here's the thing that just blows my mind when it comes up to how the media likes to handle things. And it's all about, let's not make our leaders look bad. Our liberal leaders, our progressive leaders. Let's not make them look worse than they are. We have an immigration crisis on both sides of our border right now. You've got a hole in the southern border that is just gaping, allowing migrants to come in from all over the place. And there's a little hole in the northern border that's allowing migrants to come into the United States and creating crime problems, drugs, car thefts, you name it. But this was all coupled back a number of years ago. And when you and I first started this rant, Stuart, and we are like 3 years of doing this. When we first started this, it was a George Floyd scenario. We were talking about the impact of George Floyd and how people responded in those so-called progressive cities, where, whether you're talking about New York, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Seattle, Memphis, Tennessee, Denver, Colorado, you've got a lot of Democrat-like cities who said the police, we should defund them. They're corrupt, racist. We don't need them. Well, what we discovered over those years was that was a wonderful political ploy. It got many of them elected and then unelected. See Chicago. And what's incredible is it's unbelievable. The years later, they're questioning, how come we're having a problem? And Memphis was one interesting place because, they have a Democratic mayor. They can't recruit police. The crime is through the roof. And it's basically catch and release. Sounds like your immigration policy. Catch and release. It's just not, effective. So the crime rate's through the roof. So you thought this was an American problem. Well, lo and behold, it's not just in the United States. The same thing happened in Canada. The same thing happened here where government said, we should defund the police because we have racist police officers. So instead, what we have now are a lack of police officers able and capable of doing the job. We have DAs who are politically motivated, as we've seen, that they would rather incarcerate Donald Trump for political purposes. But your livelihood, people, your day-to-day safety, if you're in Washington or Baltimore, I'll keep adding more, more names to the list of cities, Portland, Oregon, you name it. You basically told the police, we don't trust you. We dislike you. In fact, we hate you. And as a result, we don't want you. And now the anarchy has settled in. And now we're crying, how come we don't have police? How come
David,
I have to sleep in my store to save my store from getting robbed? It
but David, so how are we constantly re-electing these politicians? Why is the population so blind and, I hate to use this word, ignorant
uh-huh.
to something that's right in front of them? Neighborhoods that are most challenged in the United States are typically black communities. So law enforcement took white cops out and put people of color in. It didn't change the problem. It's not the color of the person in the uniform. They blame the uniform itself. It's as if they want anarchy to continue an objective of destroying the fundamental foundations of any country, which is law and order. You know, Laws are there to protect the innocent, but it also is to incarcerate the not innocent. You know, eh,
It's all about but good. It's about law and order. And in law and order, as we both know, is you do the crime, you're supposed to pay the time. There's a reason the reason that there is this punishment is a deterrent. It's supposed to be a deterrent. You take away the deterrent, people will do the crime because at the end of the day, petty theft leads you to what? Nothing. If you're in New York, you have a DA who says we don't want to try petty crimes. So go rob a liquor store or go to a convenience store and I'm not encouraging these crimes. I'm just saying if you steal a car, what's going to happen to you?
well, David, but the crime rate in Florida seems to be a lot less.
Well, again, it depends on the mindset of the people running the
Well,
show.
well, no, these brazen crimes with these scooters that are going on in New York, what they're doing is they're robbing stores in New York and then taking the merchandise and coming to Florida and selling it. So there was a question that was posed. Well, why aren't you just robbing people in Florida? They got guns there.
Mhm.
Guns aren't a deterrent. I think guns are definitely something that you've got to be careful on how you talk about. And I don't really promote it, but I'll be honest with you. I don't feel as safe walking out in the streets as I did 25 years ago in Florida. I don't think you and Dollar Des Armand feel any safer than you did 30 years.
No. Actually, no, I actually feel very safe in my little suburban community. We're very, very safe
Yeah,
over
they only
here.
firebombed the
But
synagogue community
but
center.
no, no, that's not that's I get what you're saying, and I knew you were gonna go there, but that's not what I'm talking
What are
about.
you talking about?
Okay. Okay. If you're talking about the rate not the racist crimes that we and again, let's put it into perspective. I'm not racism will happen anywhere. What I'm talking about is what the police should be stopping and used to stop. But it's not, or it's a better way of saying it is what the laws were able to deter. And what the laws were able to deter was the stupid stuff. And the stupid stuff is not happening. Your police have let things go. And it's incredible because when you talk about crime, the White House, or in my case, Parliament Hill,
When that house,
doesn't want to approach it.
old age
They
house,
don't
Jerry.
they don't want to approach it. They don't want to talk about it. The governments here don't want to talk about it.
No,
Your media wants to downplay its importance, but reality is that you and I, and you said it, If you go to those cities, do you think I want to? Once upon a time, I walked through New York City and I was petrified. Then I was like, wow, it's really cool here now. Now I'm not so sure.
Well, look, Giuliani cleaned the streets in New York better than anyone in the modern era. Okay, let's be honest.
Yeah, but now he's persona non grata.
Now,
Thanks a lot.
now
Next.
he's persona non grata. Exactly. If listen, just because he did a good job once doesn't mean you're going to do a good job forever. And again, persona non grata, perfect example. Giuliani is now name is mud, but he did do something that no other mayor has done since. Kept the streets of New York safe. There is nobody that has been in office, whether your name is Bloomberg, right, or anyone else, that has kept those streets safe. In fact, they are probably one of the most dangerous streets in the country today.
But the thing is, Stuart, it's just incredible because
Why is
if you
it
start
incredible? I think it's
talking,
horrible.
no, incredible in a terrible way.
Oh,
What's happened here is we look at what just occurred in New York, assaulting a police officer. You look at other places where gangs and whatever. It all ties. It goes back to the same philosophies. You have these progressive, and I hate that word, but they call themselves progressive mayors, heads of government, DAs. It doesn't matter which one. They rode the backs of the victims to power, promising them change and a better life, and instead they got better stake in their lives, as opposed to the politics. They wanted to get elected. The power, the what do you call it, the adrenaline of becoming a DA or head of this or what. Stuart, this is the disgusting part, is that the people who should be protected are getting screwed again. And it doesn't matter the color of the skin of the individual in power. They did it the same way. I promised to take care of you. I used politics to get to the spot to where I can be, and now I'm doing nothing. In fact, that made your life worse.
David, sounds like we should run for politics.
God help me, no.
We'll call it the rant party.
Ooh, I don't know about that.
I think we should at this point. Look, I got involved in politics when I was in my teenage years in Montreal. Robert Baldwin was actually head of the Robert Baldwin riding. I like them apples, David. That's history. Um,
Stuart, I've been involved in and out of politics since I'm 18, 19 years old, and I've seen the ugly part of it, and others have finally seen the ugly part of it. And really, when you strip away the hate towards Donald Trump, because that's the only way to deter the conversation about crime, is let's talk about Donald Trump. You then realize I've been screwed. I have been screwed. The people who promised me screwed me. And the people who said all you need to do is to elect a minority mayor or a minority DA or this, and you'll see how things will change.
can I ask you a question?
I-
Does the color of the skin change?
No,
Okay.
no,
Well, I mean,
it does
you're
not matter.
just making a statement which I think was just absurd. On what people believe.
No, no, no.
If I
This
put
is, but
someone like me there
this was the
that
shovel.
looks like me,
This was
or is of my religious faith, it's going to be better. I think that's
George.
a stupid statement.
That's the shoveled malarkey that they've used. Anyways, on that note, Stuart, let's wrap it up.
All right, that's all for today's episode, guys. Tune in every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, noon Eastern. Sometimes you get the both of us, double the trouble. So sit back and relax because we'll be back here Friday noon. Okay? We'd love you to join us on social media. Join us on our website. David spent countless hours and weeks developing that great site. David, hats off to you. Follow us on YouTube. Catch us on Facebook. Catch us on whatever podcast channel. We put it up so you can take it down. In the meantime, don't forget, PM us. We're here for you. So, guys, till next time, keep on ranting.